All right, ladies and gentlemen, awaiting the CDC press conference with the official announcement that the first case of the Ebola virus is here in the United States. It's in Dallas, Texas. A person back from a trip to Liberia became ill in Texas. Reportedly, this person did not exhibit any symptoms on the plane. If that's true, it makes it even that much worse, meaning that a person could be infected from a host country where, by the way, in Liberia, almost 2,000 people have died, almost 4,000 people have been infected, according to the recent statistics that I have been able to ascertain. And so they're able to come from an infected country or a country where the infection is running wild, get on a plane to the United States, not exhibit any symptoms on the plane, walk around the country, develop symptoms. Who knows how many people they infect in the meantime? This is not a good scenario, not a good situation. We will, like I said, continue to monitor and see if we could hook up with the CDC once they begin their press conference. But we want to move on to some other issues. We bring back the panel, Christopher Hahn, the host of the Christopher Hahn Show, and Seton Motley, the founder of Less Government. And Seton, let me ask you about this. You know, you talk about a president who's out to lunch, who doesn't belong in this office because he's unqualified and detached. We've heard the word detached used over and over. And this president, in his first term, according to the Government Accountability Institute, this president attended 42.4% of his presidential daily briefings on national security in his first term, and now it's down to 41.3% in his second term. Yet, it was all James Clapper's fault. You know, I don't know nothing. I'm just the president. It's a disgrace, and worse, it's now proven to be very dangerous.
Yes, it's very difficult to blame James Clapper when he didn't hear what James Clapper was saying. If he wasn't going to his briefings, if he wasn't, in fact, presidents past have received in-person briefings with people. He insisted in many instances on written national security statements rather than an actual presentation by a live body. He's detached. I think he's getting a pass by being called detached. I think he kind of wants to foment chaos as much as humanly possible, and by checking out on these sorts of things, he certainly advances that ball considerably well.
You know, Christopher, we had General Michael Hayden on earlier in the show, who actually brought these press briefings, ran them for President Bush, and now ran them for the first couple of months for President Obama in his first term, and expressed the distinct difference, how the president doesn't want to have contact with people. He just wants the sheet. He just wants to read it himself, go off and read it himself. And President Bush would always show up, not 43% of the time, and would question. He would be given one statement, and then everyone in the room, according to Hayden, was told, you better be ready to answer questions. This president has no interest in running on national security, apparently.
I think that is like an absurdist kind of thought, that he has no interest. I don't even know how to respond to it. I mean, look, some people like things in paper and in writing, so they don't have to deal with the emotion of the speaker, first of all. Second of all, it gives you time to reflect on what's there. I mean, because let's face it, Steve, I can convince people to do just about anything, but if I have to write them a note about it, they're more than likely not going to do it.
Right. So let me get this straight, Christopher. Christopher, so the president shows up less than half the time for these things, and prefers just to get a written statement, and prefers less than every other day, and then prefers to get a written statement and not have the ability to question the people who are presenting him the information.
And
you know, that makes lots of sense.
Every other day he's at a briefing, just about, let's call it what it is, every other day, and the other days he's getting a written briefing. And quite frankly, if you think Bush's national security decisions were good, well, we've got a whole nother conversation that's going to take longer than we have for this segment to discuss.
Hey, you know what, Seton? I guess tea times are hard to get. You got to take what you can get, I guess. Seton.
You know how overwrought and emotional those high-ranking military officials are in their daily.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that. You don't want to deal with that when it comes to national security. You want to, because you're such an expert. You're such an expert working for Acorn. You want to go do it yourself. I understand that. All right, guys. Thank you, Christopher Hahn. and Seton Motley. Appreciate you both being there, folks. We're going to continue to monitor and wait for the CDC press conference here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't you go away.